President Biden proposing sweeping changes to the Supreme Court as Vice President Kmala Harris also gets on board. But Republicans warn it would erode the rule of law. NTD's White House correspondent Iris brings us more from Washington, D.C.
President Biden, in an op-ed in the Washington Post today, called for 3 sweeping changes. First, to add an 18-year term limit to the Supreme Court justices, which would ensure a regular turnover of them, and in Biden's word, quote, reduce the chance that any single presidency radically alters the makeup of the court for generations. Second, President Biden suggests that there should be a binding enforceable ethics code for the High Court. And third, the president wants a constitutional amendment that would prohibit blanket immunity for presidents. And Biden calling for these changes in a speech in Texas. Watch.
The president is no longer constrained by the law, and only limits on abuse of power will be self-imposed by the president alone. That's a fundamentally flawed view and a fundamentally flawed principle.
And Biden's Monday proposal comes after a slew of major Supreme Court rulings, including the ones overturning Roe versus Wade, ending affirmative action in college admissions, and just recently granting former President Trump broad immunity for his official acts while in office. A White House official today said this about what directly prompted President Biden to make these calls. Watch.
And certainly the Supreme Court's ruling this past month, I think, would probably say, in terms of, say maybe an immediate cause.
In his op-ed, President Biden says he has great respect for separation of powers, but, quote, what is happening now is not normal, adding that it undermines the public's confidence in the court's decisions. Vice President Kmala Harris says she's fully on board with these changes, saying they will strengthen democracy. The Republicans are strongly criticizing the plan.
They decided the time has come to eliminate the Supreme Court as we know it. Never mind what the Constitution says.
Meanwhile, the chances of Biden's plans actually coming true are extremely slim, if not even non-existent. Biden's proposal for term limits and ethics code will need 60 votes to pass the Senate, and Democrats only have 51 seats. And passing a constitutional amendment is even more difficult, as it would require 2/3 of support from both chambers. And House Speaker Mike Johnson today called Biden's plan a dangerous gambit, adding that it will be dead on arrival in the House. Reporting from the Supreme Court, Iris, NTD News.